Reproductive justice framework places reproductive health and rights within a social justice framework. Right of individuals to have the children they want, raise the children they have, and plan families through safe and legal access to abortion and contraception. The right to express one's gender and sexuality free from oppression. LGBTQ and reproductive justice movements. They're working toward creating a society that fully recognizes and respects the reproductive and sexual rights of all, recognize, respect, and support diverse family forms, fight against oppression and violence related to reproductive options, gender expression, and sexual orientation. Access to healthcare. Bad experiences with inadequately trained professionals are a big reason as to why LGBTQ folks do not seek medical care. Many LGBTQ individuals receive no health information and in some cases misinformation about maintaining their sexual and reproductive health. LGBTQ individuals often experience discrimination or prejudice from healthcare staff when seeking care. 1 in 5 LGBTQ adults have avoided medical care due to the fear of discrimination, and LGBTQ youth are 2 to 3 times more likely to attempt suicide. Queer women and sex with men. Unplanned pregnancies and STIs do not just affect heterosexual cisgender women. Queer women may have sex with both men and women, which in turn may lead to unintended pregnancies. Queer women also have a higher rate of rape from men than heterosexual cisgender women. Many of these sexual assaults are motivated by homophobia and/or transphobia. Trans women experience a high prevalence of HIV and STDs, victimization, and suicide. Overall, queer and trans women are more vulnerable to STIs compared to their heterosexual cisgender counterparts.
Reproductive justice seeks to ensure that all people have access to contraception, safe and legal abortion, prenatal care, and a full range of birthing options should a person choose to give birth. Reproductive justice emphasizes equal access to fertility treatment. Infertility treatment centers often discriminate against LGBTQ couples and individuals. Insurance companies also regularly deny lesbians access to fertility services, even when their plan covers services for heterosexual couples. LGBTQ people often face discrimination by adoption agencies. Second parent adoption allows a second parent to adopt a child without the first parent losing any rights. LGBTQ people are often met with discrimination when trying to solidify their family ties to their children in this way. That is why the right to raise children and build families is crucial to reproductive justice, as is having access to adoption. Almost 40% of all agencies and 83% of public agencies reported making at least one adoption placement with a lesbian or gay man. However, 1/3 of agencies would reject a gay or lesbian applicant, either because of the religious beliefs guiding the agency, a state law prohibiting placement with LGBT parents, or a policy of placing children only with married couples. Additionally, agency heads are more likely to have negative views towards gays and lesbians adopting when they associate such adoptions with greater evaluation and support needs. Currently, only about 50% of states allow second parent adoptions, meaning that many LGBTQ couples are denied the right to fully co-parent their children. However, with the legalization of same-sex marriage, this is changing somewhat. These legal obstacles hurt LGBTQ family formation and limit the ways LGBTQ parents can protect their families. All of these options are also very expensive, with the exception of foster parenting, which also impacts access. Transgender people face harsher discrimination in the adoption process. Transgender parents who desire to transition risk being stripped of their parental or custodial rights because of legal and social biases and transphobia.
I am going to share a fact with you that might surprise you. My name is Samantha, and my biological parents have never met. In fact, They didn't even know each other's identity until a year ago. You may be wondering how that's possible. Well, it all started when my mom met my other mom, and they decided they wanted to have a child together. So they saved up $11,000 and went through a process called artificial insemination. The most common method, and the method that my mother's used, is called intrauterine insemination, or IUI, when a doctor places the sperm in the uterus. Artificial insemination can be used to treat fertility problems or in the case that an individual has a history of endometriosis. In my family's case, it was used because my mom had endometriosis and because my parents are lesbians and were unable to conceive a child naturally. Another possible procedure for parents trying to conceive a child through unconventional means is in vitro fertilization. In vitro fertilization, or IVF, is a more complex and invasive set of procedures in which mature eggs are collected from ovaries and fertilized by sperm in a lab. Then the fertilized embryo or embryos are transferred to a uterus. IVF can be used to prevent genetic problems or treat fertility issues. It is more effective than artificial insemination.
Reproductive justice includes having the ability to lead healthy sexual and reproductive lives. Most states require transgender folks to undergo permanent physical alterations before the state will legally recognize their gender identity. Many jurisdictions require, in order to receive a new ID card or birth certificate, transgender men are subject to radical hysterectomies or mastectomies. On the other hand, transgender women are subject to having their reproductive organs unnecessarily removed. Such requirements essentially impose permanent sterility on those who wish to have their gender identity fully recognized under the law. However, because transgender people have a much higher poverty rate than cisgender folks, they seldom have the financial resources to obtain hormone therapy and/or sex reassignment surgery. In order to advocate for reproductive justice and reproductive justice for queer folks, we must support laws and policies that promote equal recognition and treatment of all families. We must call attention to the sexual and reproductive health needs of LGBTQ communities. And we must support local and state and national efforts for non-discrimination laws that protect sexual minorities from discrimination in employment, adoption, health insurance policies, and healthcare services.